Good evening, everyone. Today we will speak about the coffee process. The coffee you take every morning has been through a long process to arrive in your cup, and it is one of the most consumed beverages worldwide. There are 8 stages in the coffee process that we will discuss through this presentation. One of the most important aspects of farming coffee is the process of separating the coffee cherries fruit and skin from the coffee beans. How the coffee is processed can have a strong impact on the resulting cup. Moreover, farmers are experimenting new coffee process methods. For example, the anaerobic fermentation. The planting process. Coffee beans are seeds, so if they are planted, they can germinate and grow strongly in a coffee plant. The seeds are normally planted in a large plastic containers in shady nurseries. After sprouting, the seeds are left to grow for a few days before moving them to a definitive place. They will be watered and shaded from the bright sunlight. The best moment to plant coffee is the rain season because the soil will remain moist. Farmers prefer to plant the coffee over the mountains because the soil is rich in nitrogen. The harvesting process. This process will take 3 to 4 years approximately for the plants to bear fruit. The coffee fruit turns in a red deep color when it is ready to be harvested. In most countries the crop is picked by hand, and this process requires a labor-intensive. Coffee is harvested in one of two ways. The first one, only the ripe cherries are harvested, and they are picked individually by hand. The second one is that all the cherries are stripped off the plant at one time. A good picker recollects approximately 45 to 90 kilograms of coffee cherries a day. Processing the coffee cherries. There are several methods to process the coffee seeds. The most common is the wet method, which is used in many factories. On this process, the pulp is removed, so the bean is dry with the skin left on. The cherries are passed through a pulping machine to separate the skin and pulp from the bean. Then, the cherries pass through a water canal. Thus, the beans are separated by weight and they are passed through a series of rotting drums, which separate them by size. The beans are stored in a fermentation tank for 12 to 48 hours approximately, and then beans are raised by going through water canals and are ready for the next process, the drying. The drying process. There are two types of drying techniques used in the coffee processing, which are the sun drying and mechanical drying. The beans fermented must be dried to 11% of moisture to be ready for storage. They are sun-dried by spreading them on drying floor, where they are turned regularly. Also, this process can be developed in a machine dried. The dry beans are known as parchment coffee, and they are stored in jute or sisal bags. Different researches have been pointed out the beverages from coffee drying processed by different methods have significant differences on flavor. The honey process. This method produces sweet coffees. The seeds are uniform and far cleaner than natural drying. The flavor is less acid than the parchment obtained on wet process. Companies can produce a type of coffee called honey coffee, decreasing the washing process, thus keeping the sweet flavor of coffee beans. For this method, companies also need to leave out the fermentation stage, as this as the beans have a lot of sugar. This produces a very sweet coffee like honey. Brazil and Central America are famous for this method. Low humidity is required because beans must be very dry for optimum results. Toasting process. Before the exportation process, the beans are toasted, transforming the green coffee, which does not smell like coffee at all, into the aromatic brown beans. The temperature of the roasting machines is about 550 degrees Fahrenheit, and the beans are kept moving throughout the entire process to keep them from burning. After roasting, the beans are immediately cooled either by air or water. Depending on the roast degree, the coffee can be smoky tasting and the flavor can be too sharp. To conclude, I will mention some reasons to drink coffee. First, coffee has more antioxidants than green tea or chocolate, which are famous for being antioxidants. It is important to understand that antioxidants fight inflammation and another disease. Moreover, coffee can provide a short-term memory boost by affecting some areas in the brain responsible for memory and concentration. Coffee can help us for many reasons, but it doesn't mean more is better. High doses can cause nervousness, anxiety, and insomnia. So, if you experience any negative effect, consider cutting your coffee consumption. I hope you have enjoyed this aromatic and tasteful process.